Welcome back, Holistic Soul Sisters. I'm Mandy Rose, your holistic health coach, spiritual mentor, and astrologer. In today's video, we are going to talk all about Uranus retrograde. Now, when it comes to Uranus, the motto is expect the unexpected. He loves to shake things up. He brings a lot of destruction and chaos into our lives, but they're all meant for a greater purpose. Now, I say every planet is like a life coach to us in some way, in some area of our life. So we're going to talk all about that today. I'm going to share with you guys a little bit more about the details of retrogrades, who Uranus is, and in what areas of our life he's going to be life coaching us. We're going to talk about Taurus, the zodiac sign he will be retrograding through, what happens and what we should expect when he goes retrograde. We're going to talk about some specifics in the 2021 retrograde. And lastly, I'm going to give you some do's and don'ts that you should be doing during this retrograde. Before we dive into Uranus, I want to give you guys a little basic overview again of retrogrades. Retrogrades are optical illusions in the sky that makes it appear like the planet is going backwards. So we can expect every day the sun to rise in the east and set in the west. Same with the moon. These are the only two celestial bodies that do not go retrograde. So think of a planet. If it rises every single day in the east and sets in the west, we can expect to see them every day in that same position. However, when they go retrograde, it's the shifting of the Earth that creates this optical illusion that makes it appear as if that planet is going backwards in the sky. Now, the planets don't shift directions in the actual galaxy, but to us on Earth, it does look like it's shifting. And because astrology is all based on our experience from planet Earth, like your birth chart, it takes into account where you were born and what time you were born, on what day you were born, because it's from your perspective on planet Earth. Same goes with retrogrades. So when a planet goes retrograde, essentially a planet goes in one direction, and then one day you're going to wake up and it looks like that planet has moved backwards. During these periods, it's a period of introspection. We go back over some area of our life or something that happened to us. We go inwards, we reflect, we reevaluate, we reassess, we re-understand. Anything that has the word re in front of it is what we should be doing during a retrograde. So we'll talk a lot more about that in this video, but I wanted to give you a little refresher and reminder of what retrogrades actually are. Some planets retrograde for just a short amount of time, like Mercury will only retrograde for 3 weeks, and other planets will retrograde for a longer amount of time, like Uranus will do a 7-month retrograde. Now, retrogrades are important because think of it this way. In our lives, if we were to always move forward and never take a pause to reflect, we can get off track really, really fast. Imagine that you're a golfer and you're really good at getting the ball really, really far. But if you hit that ball just a little bit off, your long drive is actually going to go really far in the wrong direction. So retrogrades come to us as little breaks and pauses in our onward journey of life so we can reflect and reassess and reanalyze if what we're doing is actually in alignment of our purpose. So let's dive into Uranus and who he is as a life coach and in what areas of our life he's going to help us during this retrograde season. So the basics of this Uranus retrograde. This Uranus retrograde is going to begin on August 20th of 2021 and is going to last us all the way into January 18th of 2022. So we are going to finish off the rest of this year with Uranus in his retrograde and all the way into next year. He is going to be retrograding from 14 degrees of Taurus back to 10 degrees of Taurus. It's not a big movement because he will be hanging out here in this zodiac sign all the way until 2026. He is parking here, making sure we get grounded and really reevaluate the Taurus parts of our lives so we can shake things up and reform and restructure them in the way that's going to last us for decades to come. So who is Uranus? What does he represent and how is he helping us as a life coach? Well, Uranus, I always say, is like the crazy, unpredictable friend. He loves rebellion. He loves to shake things up. He comes into our life to literally get us back on track by demolishing and destroying the things that we as humans cannot let go of ourselves. So if there are things in your life that you know need to change, but you can't let go, don't worry, Uranus is going to come interfere, especially during a retrograde, to help you release those things so you can move on to your next chapter. Now, Uranus rules the zodiac sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is the humanitarian of the zodiac. It's the innovator, the forward thinker, the one that always looks to the future, new technology, new experiences. It is an air sign, so it's very logical. It's all about the mind. I say it's like the crazy inventor vibes. Think of Albert Einstein and Tesla and all these geniuses that used their mind because they could see the future. They would think outside of the box in a way that nobody else could, and they were humanitarians because what their invention did was change the world. Now, Aquarius is also known as a detached energy. It doesn't get wrapped up in the emotions. It doesn't have a lot of nostalgia or attachment to things. Some people label them as cold, but that's because they are always looking to the future and to the next thing. And since Uranus rules Aquarius and Uranus loves liberation and freedom, we can understand that in order to have shifts and breakthroughs, we can't get too attached to things. So sometimes we need to use that cold energy to help us in our lives. Now, Uranus himself loves freedom, liberation. He's all about awakening us. He loves to shake things up. He's all about sudden breakthroughs. He also rules change, rebellion, and revolutions, and also wants us to take the shackles off. Expect the unexpected when it comes to Uranus energy. You can also know him as the rebel with a cause, because everything he does for us, everything he strips away, everything he shakes up in our life is for a reason. Oftentimes when Uranus is involved in the astrology, it's when we have major breakthroughs in inventions. Think of the internet. That was something that was so outside of the box that people couldn't even comprehend or dream up. Or think of even cars. When they first came out, people had no clue that we could create something that could take us really far distances. So these are the things that Uranus brings to us. Now, to better understand what we can expect during this Uranus retrograde, we're gonna have to understand the zodiac sign he will be going backwards through, and that is the zodiac sign of Taurus. Like I mentioned, he'll be hanging out in Taurus until 2026. So these are themes that we're really gonna have to understand to restructure, to create new freedoms with, to create new ways and out of the box thinking so that we can all move forward as a collective and as an individual. So let's talk about Taurus. Taurus rules these topics: finance, beauty, love, material possessions, money, banks, agriculture, and Mother Nature. Taurus is an earth energy, so everything of the earth, the soil, the air, the water, and the animals. Also, something to know about Taurus is what we call in astrology a fixed energy. All the fixed zodiac signs do not like change. They want to be exactly who they are, and they're not going to budge for anyone. Taurus's symbol is the bull. So think of things that are stubborn, they're firm, they're steady, they're strong, and they're grounded to the earth. And then you have the planet Uranus that loves sudden jolting change and wants to switch things up. Sometimes that can be a very confusing energy. This is like when things in our life that seem so permanent, things that we are sure of, like we know that this is gonna always be like this. And then all of a sudden it completely changes. So let me give you an example. Taurus rules money, right? Money and finances. So we have thought since the beginning of time that money is always going to be a solid object. There's going to be paper exchange, there's going to be coins exchange, and that is just something we've always relied on and always known to be true. But now look, all of a sudden, Uranus, this crazy planet of innovation, future, forward thinking, shows up in this money sign of Taurus, and we're about to have cryptocurrency. A concept that was created and we all kind of brushed off and thought, yeah, right, I doubt that's gonna happen. And now look, we're having this concept of like, money's not gonna be an object, it's gonna be like a figment of the internet and just a number on a screen, and that is just really hard to grasp for a lot of people. So my biggest advice when it comes to Uranus being in Taurus, and definitely when there is a Uranus retrograde in Taurus, is that things that can seem so permanent, we're gonna have to let go of. We're gonna have to start thinking outside of the box. We're going to have to start being okay with letting go of the way things have always been and start shifting them forward, especially in the categories that relate to Taurus, in the way that we have relationships, in the way that we value things, the way that we have our morals. With Venus being the ruler of Taurus, it's all about our values and our morals. And we can start to feel like some of those things within us are completely shifting and changing. Also, when it comes to Mother Earth, this is something I want to make sure that we touch upon. We can see that the damage and the destruction that we have caused to Mother Earth is starting to come back and bite us in the butt. We can clearly see that natural disasters are becoming stronger and more destructive. We are having crazier weather and stronger storms. And this is definitely something that we can attribute to Uranus shaking things up in Taurus, Taurus ruling the Earth. So this is a great time to start asking yourself, how can I positively change my values and my morals around Mother Earth? And how can I start creating a new life that looks different than the one I've ever had before when it comes to these topics? Now, another thing is Taurus rules agriculture and holistic medicine and holistic healing. So these are things that we can also see a lot of shifts and change happening. Uranus is coming in and shaking up all of these things. You know, the way that we farm food, the way that we source food, what we're actually eating. People are wanting to go more organic and people are demanding better practices when it comes to animals. And then when we talk about holistic health and healing, Taurus rules alternative medicine. And there is such a revolution. Remember, Uranus is revolution and rebellion. There is such a brewing in the holistic health field about holistic medicine becoming the norm, and people are actually seeking and searching for out of the box ways to heal their bodies using Mother Nature. So this is absolutely beautiful and will continue on all the way until 2026 when we have a new way of interacting with all of these topics. Let's talk more specifically about the things that we can expect during a Uranus retrograde. We know who Uranus is and what he rules. We know about the zodiac sign of Taurus and what areas of our life we can expect this sudden breakthrough, liberation, shifting, and removing of the shackles. So what can we expect when all of this goes a little backwards? So number one, we can expect more natural disasters. Like I just mentioned, we can expect Uranus to come through and shift and destroy things so that we can build them anew. I know this sounds so horrible on the surface, but let me give you an example. Let's say a family's home burns down, a natural disaster, right? And it could be the best thing that's ever happened to them. Maybe they've always wanted to move to Europe, something they've always dreamed about, but they couldn't make the decision themselves. So now their house burns down, they receive a check from their insurance company, and they decide to go for their dreams. A devastating thing, a rebellion, a chaotic event leads to them getting back on track. So that is something that we can see happen during Uranus retrograde. Then number two really relates to that, and that is Uranus shaking things up in our personal life that we have been stuck and stagnant and haven't been able to break free from ourselves. So if there's something going on in your life that you know you need to change, you know that it's not going to work for you, you know it's not aligned on your path, but you just can't take that step forward, expect during Uranus retrograde that he is going to come in and intervene out of left field. Remember, expect the unexpected. The thing that you never thought would happen happens during a Uranus retrograde. So when it does, and if it does in your personal life, just say, okay, Uranus, I got the message. Thank you for being a life coach. I'm going to handle this. I'm going to deal with it, and I'm going to move forward in my own destiny. The third thing that we can expect to see is more of a society level is that we can see more rebellion and riots. Now, this can be a little scary because people are going to start noticing the truth. We have currently in 2021, as Uranus goes retrograde, we have 5 other planets already retrograde. So they've been working on healing us personally and on healing the collective. We have Chiron, the wounded warrior, who's healing inner child wounds and masculine tendencies. We have Pluto, which rules death and ego and manipulation and control, working on people reassessing that. We have Saturn, who's all about tough love and karma and discipline and creating new foundations. He rules the government and legal systems. He's retrograde. We have Neptune, who's all about illusion and fantasy and living a good life, who's retrograde, which means stripping off those rose-colored glasses and getting real, facing reality and coming to terms with the truth. And then we have Jupiter, who's the planet of abundance and joy and prosperity and money and opportunities, retrograde, saying no more of those. We got to work with what we got. So as Uranus goes retrograde, the other planets have set the stage for us to do that inner work. And now he is gonna come through and do that last push of sudden jolting change. Let's switch it up because you're not getting the point, so I'm here to switch it up. So that is where riots and rebellion comes in. People are seeing the truth. People are changing their values. People are reevaluating what's important to them. And then when that happens, we can get fired up and we can demand change and we can ask for change. And unfortunately, change never comes easy, whether it's within us or within an entire society. So we can expect a lot more rebellion and riots and people just going out and demanding change. So just understand where that energy may be coming from. And then lastly, number 4 is we might be noticing a lot more alternative health and healing modalities coming out. Because Uranus is helping us reassess and reevaluate and restructure and reanalyze and redo certain things, we might be noticing that the way that we are healing ourselves and the world and the way that things have been going aren't working. And so now these new, liberating, freedom, new possibilities are going to be coming to us when it comes to holistic health and medicine. So that's really cool and exciting as well. And now lastly, let's get into some do's and don'ts of what you should be doing during this Uranus retrograde. So let's start out with the do's. Number 1, allow for some big changes. Like I mentioned, expect the unexpected, make room for them in your world, be a little bit more flexible, and when they happen, understand they're for your highest good. Number 2, you should reassess your financial stability. Because Taurus rules money and we are shifting in cryptocurrency and the way that we value money, it's a great time to reassess. Retrogrades being about reevaluating, restructuring, re-understanding your relationship with money. So are you spending too much? Are you penny pinching and not spending enough on the things that bring you joy? Are you being a little frivolous? Do you need another source of income? Have you looked at your portfolio and found a passive income source? You know, they say millionaires have 7 streams of income. Is there something that you need to be working on to get another stream of income? These are all things you should be focusing on, especially during a Uranus retrograde. And number 3, you should reevaluate your impact on the environment. Like I mentioned, Uranus creates a lot of bigger natural disasters, and sometimes those are wake-up moments for us on planet Earth to take better care of Mother Earth, right? We need the sun, we need clean air, we need clean water, we need healthy organic food. So reassess your relationship with Mother Earth. Are you needing to get more connected with her? Are you needing to get more outside and go for walks in the sun? Are you needing to get out and appreciate the sunsets more? Are you maybe wanting to start a garden so that you can have your own source of clean food and herbs? Or is there some sort of organization that you should be getting involved with that's going to help clean up the earth or that's going to appreciate Mother Earth a little bit more? So let's move into the don'ts. Number 1, you're not going to want to fall into groupthink. It's time to start thinking for yourself. And I say that because Uranus is sudden, jolting change. It's liberation. It's doing things the way that's never been done before. And in society, the way that we often think is based on the way that things have always been. So if you're gonna be that person that doesn't wanna change your thought process, that doesn't wanna come to terms with the world changing and evolving, then you're gonna find a lot of challenges because you can't think outside of the box. So you're gonna wanna just think a little bit more for yourself and think about what's right for you, especially when it comes to the themes that Taurus rules. Remember, money, finances, your values, your morals, holistic health and medicine, Mother Earth, banks, agriculture, and material possession. Number 2, don't be afraid to go against the norm. This comes down to, like I said, we can often see rebellion and riots, but there's always those of us who are too afraid to stand up against the norm. And Uranus retrograde energy allows us to not be afraid of stepping outside of that society box and saying, no more. That's not what I believe. Or let's say you're someone that wants to talk about astrology or holistic medicine. You've always been thinking, if I do that, I'm going to be looked at as weird or people are going to judge me, or not anymore. This is the perfect energy to be outside of the norm, to be the innovator, to be the leader, to be that futuristic person, thinking of innovations and technology and talking about topics that are so different from what we've already been understanding in society. So go be that leader, go be your weird, unique, authentic self, and think outside of the norm. Those are the people that are gonna lead us into the next era. And number 3, do not put yourself in toxic situations, because Uranus shakes things up in our lives because they don't align with our destiny. So if there's a toxic situation you keep engaging with over and over again and you can't step away yourself, Uranus is going to come in and blow something up in your life so that you get away from that toxic energy. So it's a great time to reassess what things in your life are toxic. Are your certain values toxic? Are your money spending habits toxic? Is the food that you're eating literally toxic? Are the relationships you're keeping, because Venus is the ruler of Taurus and Venus rules relationships, are your relationships toxic? If you don't evaluate these and get rid of them, Uranus retrograde will get rid of them for you. So that is a beauty of our life coach Uranus, even though it can be hella uncomfortable. So that's all I have for you guys today on this Uranus retrograde. I hope it treats you well. I hope that this video was super helpful in giving you some insight as this retrograde goes on. We are in the peak of retrograde season. We'll be having Mercury go retrograde in just a couple weeks. That will make 7 planets total in retrograde at one time. So this energy, we can feel a little chaotic, we can feel a little stuck, we can feel a little set back from our direction, but it's a time to reflect and go inward. If you have your 2021 retrograde journal, I highly encourage you to go through the journal prompts, reassess some things in your life. It will help you explain a lot of the chaos. That's why I wrote this book, was specifically for retrogrades, and then it expanded into the new moons, the full moons, the sun seasons, and so much more. But it's gonna help you make sense of the chaos. If you haven't grabbed your copy yet, they are still for sale. I'm doing a discount on them because we are so close to the end of the year, but there is so much value in here. They're half interactive, where you write the journal prompts, there's new moon rituals, crystals that you can be using, and half educational, where you're gonna learn about Taurus, you're gonna learn about each planet, you're gonna learn so much so you can always go back and reference this journal no matter what time of year it is. So you'll find a link in the description box below on how you can purchase that. I'll be sending them out to you guys. If you are interested in doing a birth chart reading, I am offering birth chart readings. You will find my email in the description box below. Go ahead and send me an email and put birth chart reading as the title, and I will get back to you to schedule a time. I do personal birth chart readings. I do yearly astrological forecasts where we look at what's going on in the sky today and how that's going to be impacting you over the course of the next 12 months. I also do relational astrology readings, so that is helping you better understand someone in your life, whether it's your kids, your spouse, your partner, your family members, or whomever. That way we can have better relationships by better understanding the people around us. And then I also do compatibility readings, which are very similar to the relational readings. However, we take you and your partner and we help you guys better understand your charts and what's going on in the world today and how that might be impacting your relationships. For example, me and my boyfriend, we had last year's Mercury retrograde happening in our birth charts right between our Venuses. And during that 3-week period, we could not understand each other. We had an argument where he had his side, I had my side. We could not, for the life of us, understand the other person's point of view. Mercury came out of retrograde and we completely forgot what that argument was about. Thank God we had our birth charts and we understood what was going on. So we just said, you know what, let's wait till the retrograde's over and then we'll be able to communicate and speak more clearly. And that's exactly what happened. So that's what I'm here to help you guys do. If you guys have any other questions for me, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. My name is mandyrose.1111. I love connecting with you guys. And I talk so much more about holistic health and healing, spirituality, and astrology on my Instagram. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Please share this channel with anyone you think that it would benefit. I really appreciate that. That's how I've been growing. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Hope this Uranus retrograde treats you well.